Hey everyone, welcome to the Rise and Above podcast, a platform for you to share your story. Oftentimes, we all have something that happens to us in life and we have no way of sharing. Many people want an outlet, whether it's writing a book or going on a massive networking platform or starting an inspirational social media account. With the Rise and Above platform, anyone with an inspiring, motivating, or interesting story can come on and share. It could be anything from the struggles of starting a business, the struggles of overcoming homelessness or mental illness. I've interviewed victims of rape, sexual assault, and abuse. There is no subject that is off limits. This platform offers a safe and fun way for you to share your story through a one-on-one experience. If you would like to share your story, the best way to reach out would be through social media. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook or through email. All the links will be provided in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Welcome to the Rise and Above podcast. My name is David Hess, and today I have Chelsea Wooton with me. She is a cancer survivor, and she's, I guess, currently homeless, but she's working on bettering her life and trying to create a more stable environment for herself. So I guess with that being said, Chelsea, how are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there. I'm happy to be here, and I feel privileged that you wanted to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Erica had messaged me, or she messaged us both, and was like, "Hey, you need to talk to her." So are you from the Lansing area?
No. I was actually born in Virginia Beach. My dad met my mom there, and then when I was about 2 or 3, we moved to his hometown, which is Seymour, Indiana. I don't know if you've ever heard the song Small Town by John Mellencamp.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's that small town
Really?
that I was raised in. Yeah. And that song plays at every event, let me tell you. So
So you're not a fan of it anymore?
I'm not a fan of Indiana. I really miss my family a lot, but I moved to Rhode Island after I actually graduated high school. I wanted to just get out, and I chose like Johnson & Wales University. I went for food service management, culinary, pastry, and then I got a minor in psychology.
Wow.
So I did a little bit there.
Where'd you go to school?
Johnson & Wales University.
Okay.
I actually got an internship at the Disney World Polynesian Resort, and I worked for Kona Cafe, Ohana, and their sushi bar. But I did that for 3 months, and it was just expensive to live there, so I decided to go back to Rhode Island, finish up my degree, and then I stayed out there for about another year and worked, and I just started to kind of miss my family. Being 24 hours away from them was pretty rough. So I then moved back to Indiana for a little bit. I then found my ex, and I got pregnant. And he's the joy of my life, but it definitely put a spin in my world, and I didn't want to raise my son in the same environment that I was raised in.
What kind of environment were you raised in?
Just a very bad meth town. A lot of drugs, a lot of rehabs, a big trucker town. Very scary place. I mean, it has its benefits, obviously, but there was just not a lot to offer for my son, like education-wise, programs-wise, sports. Like, there's just so many things that we can do in Michigan that I couldn't do in Indiana with him. And I really appreciate that. So when we moved here in 2019, May, and I was pregnant, I then had my son in September, and then 5 months later, I was diagnosed with ALL, acute lymphoblastic leukemia.
And do you want to explain what that is?
It's one of the most common childhood cancers, but it's really rare in adults. So I'm actually on a pediatric protocol, and it's very low doses. I'm in maintenance stage. That's why you see the hair. I was in induction phase to begin with, and I lost a lot of weight. Just wasn't a good time for me. And then probably around February 15th was my diagnosis, and then I got out of the hospital 3 weeks later, and COVID hit.
Wow.
But I was neutropenic, which means my blood cells were really low, so I couldn't go out anyways. And I had to wear a mask, and it was just, it was scary. It was a scary time, especially going into a hospital, having to do treatments alone.
Right.
Um,
You probably felt compromised, right?
Yeah.
Like your health was already compromised, so you probably were afraid of
yeah, it was real scary in the
what.
beginning, but now I feel a little better about where we're headed. Um, but yeah, I luckily, when I first moved here, I got into contact with a breastfeeding group. Um, and I met a couple mothers through the Willow Tree Family Center, and they were just amazing to me. They visited me in the hospital. They took shifts holding my son because he was there for 3 weeks with me. We had a crib in the hospital room, and that was fun, switching him to bottles completely from exclusively breastfeeding.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how did you become homeless?
I was not with the right person. Things change. Circumstances really prove how strong someone is. So I think that we just fought a lot. We decided it wasn't good for Finn, so I actually stayed with a friend for a few weeks, but our kids kept fighting over toys,
Mm-hmm.
3 under 3.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. But I really am grateful for that opportunity to have like a safe shelter. But now I am in the MSU Safe Haven, so they actually take care of me really well. Give me gas cards and groceries, and I actually don't kind of want to leave. It's really nice, but I am fearful that somebody else would be in my situation and not have those same resources.
Mm-hmm. Now, what is it like being homeless with kids? Because I was homeless when I was a kid, before I went into foster care, and like it wasn't that terrifying for me because I was a kid and I figured my mom had everything under control. But I could imagine being her in that position and living on the streets with kids. What is that like?
It's really scary because I don't have any family from here. I don't have a huge support system, but it's been great to have the split custody. I've been able to get a little bit of things done.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it really hard. He's almost 2, so he makes it really hard to be on the phone or just doing dishes,
I know what that's like.
So I use those days to kind of like look for places for us, and that's what I really want. I want to find us the perfect place, and I think that he doesn't really understand it right now, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful that he's not going to understand this, but he's going to see that one day, Mom toughed it out and got us out of there, but hopefully he sees my effort.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice.
Oh, you're good.
I've been doing podcasts a lot, so I think I'm losing my voice from talking too much. But I think he'll see your efforts. He'll see that you tried to, better your guys' situation. What kind of steps are you guys taking now to kind of get out of the situation that you're in?
Right now, I'm just looking for a private rental or a house. I can get a 2-bedroom house for us, and Holy Cross will pay for the first 6 months, and they'll pay for my down payment or my rental app, and they'll also, well, I don't know how long the Holy Cross will be because Section 8 should take over, and then my rent will be highly discounted for a while. So
now, you were saying before the podcast that finding housing right now is not easy.
No, and especially after COVID, I've heard from a lot of landlords they're kind of weary about people with bad credit scores. I have student loan debt, and I just don't have the greatest score ever. So it's been a little challenging, and I just hope that somebody will work with me because I have that guaranteed voucher. That's guaranteed money. So hopefully now that I have that, somebody would be willing to work with me.
It's kind of it seems kind of like a backward system because if you're in a situation, like that you're in or anybody else who's struggling to make it, you would think that they probably wouldn't have a good credit score or like a good like financial situation to begin with because they're in that position, right? So why do they make it harder?
Yeah, I found that a lot of them are willing to help, but the places go very quickly too, and there's a lot of like inspections that need to be done, and they just need to be well kept because the city's paying for it. I mean, essentially, or the government.
Right.
So essentially, that's all in all. But yeah.
So you don't have a job, but you own kind of a business, right?
Yeah, so
You want to share what that's about?
I do. I started Color Street February 2021, and that was right before I left my ex. I wanted to become financially independent before I took off. So today I brought you a sample so you can see how easy it is. I'm actually doing my first vending at the first annual Eastside Summerfest. It's August 27th through the 28th, and it's on Michigan and Foster Ave, and there's no entrance fee, and there's a ton of people vending. Well, I didn't bring scissors. Here it is. So I started Color Street to become financially independent, but I really enjoy getting my nails done, and sometimes moms can't afford the nail salon, so I actually this is dry polish, and it only takes like a second to put on.
So do you make those things?
No, I do not. Actually, a guy named Bob Park did, and it's a man, and he created this business, and it's just really taken off. But you can see it's already on. So it's really good for people with kids, my mom's, and it's already done.
Wow.
So
That's interesting.
yeah, and it comes in a pack of 10. So this is just my sample kit, and I just kind of threw it together. But I usually carry samples with me all the time, and I've found a couple people who help me, and I actually I try to do like little things for my good customers. I do giveaways, and I do like a website and everything, but I really like to like help. I know some customers, like one of my customers lost a job, and she didn't know if she was going to be able to feed her family. And so I gave her a gift card that somebody had given me because I am getting groceries from the shelter. And I gave her a mental wellness awareness asset because she's from my therapy group.
Oh, cool.
So I decided that, she needed that. And I gave her some face masks and just some like little self-care essentials. And I told her I hope she's having a good time and she can get past this, and hopefully I can help her a little bit.
So you said you do giveaways and stuff on like social media?
Yeah, I do. I have a Chi-Chi Nailed It is my business name.
Chi-Chi Nailed It.
Yeah, Chi-Chi is actually a nickname my nephew gave me. He couldn't pronounce Chelsea, so it just stuck. I'm Aunt Chi-Chi now, and I actually I do hula hooping, and I go by Chi-Chi. It's just like a little nickname that just stuck. But Chi-Chi Nailed It, I do the website, and I do like a Facebook page, and I usually do a monthly giveaway.
Okay.
So if they post a nail fee is what it's called, so like, they take pictures of their nails and stuff, I'll put them in an entry.
Oh, cool.
And then I always let Finn draw the name out of the hat, so it's fair.
That's a good idea.
So, yeah, it's always good. It's good to kind of get him on there. Actually, I do live videos, so I did a demo one day, and I did a demo on him just to show how easy it was with a 2-year-old. And he cried after I put it on, so we had to take it off.
Now, how easy is it to take those things off?
Oh, it's simple. I actually give people nail polish remover wipe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just simple. And actually, I have a trick. I posted a tutorial of it. But you can take a bowl of rice, and heat it up in your microwave for 15-second increments.
Okay.
Take a plastic baggie and a couple dryer sheets and pour some remover in. And you're going to have to keep microwaving the rice to kind of keep it warm, but hand temperature. And you just kind of do this. And it gently, like, exfoliates with the dry cloth and takes off the polish. So a lot of people will wrap their nails. And I feel like then you can't do anything.
Right.
The good thing about this is that you can go back. You could stop for a little bit and go back.
Right.
So
now, how successful is this? Is it a business?
Yeah, and actually, I really create my own success with it.
Okay.
However much effort I put into it is how much I'm going to get out. So I haven't made, like, big bucks, but there are people out there that are doing really well for themselves. And once you get enough clients, you can eventually become a team lead. So right now I'm a bonus qualified stylist. I got that after 3 months of just working. It's been a little slow lately, and I haven't really put forth the effort.
Well, you're also doing chemo, right?
I'm doing a lot of stuff right now. I just had 5 days worth of chemo, and then I'll go back on the 30th for a day. And then in 30 more days, I'll go back for a lumbar puncture, which is like a spinal tap. And then I get an infusion that day, and I take oral every day.
Wow. That must be difficult. What does it feel like?
It's overwhelming sometimes, but I've gotten past the hard part, and I hear a lot of horror stories that make me grateful for what I go through. Being in the ped ward was very eye-opening,
Because you're around kids
that
are going through cancer treatments.
Yeah, like I heard a kid one day, they asked him how he was doing, and he said, well, I don't have any good days anymore.
Wow.
And that really, he looked about 8 years old, and I'm grateful that my chemo worked. I'm grateful that I have an 85% success rate. And I take that medicine like it's nobody's business every night.
I would imagine.
Yeah. And then sometimes they actually have me skip it because my numbers will be low and I have to get a shot. I've actually taken shots home and had friends do it for me because I can't do it.
You would have to inject yourself?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way I could do that.
So my friend actually, she's my best friend. She went through IVF. She actually did it for me. She's like, we can do it in your butt. I was like, no, no.
So you messaged me the other day and you said you had a bunch of good news and you wanted to tell me about.
Yeah. The Section 8 housing actually came in, right? And I've been getting a lot of good phone calls. I'm actually going to look at a place on Saturday.
Awesome.
And like I said, the vending show that I'm doing, that's my first ever. I really hope that a lot of people come down and check it out because there's going to be bounce houses and live entertainment and just food trucks. And
What's the purpose of the festival?
It's just to celebrate the East Side community.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to, I guess, show pride in it is what they said.
Yeah.
It's the first one, so we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it goes.
So what's your long-term goals? Obviously, you're trying to get out of the position you're in. You're trying to take the next step into becoming a homeowner or having your own place. What's your long-term goals?
My long-term goal is, it's not really long-term, it's more short-term, but June 2022, I will be done with chemo. And I always tell people that I'm going to be like a phoenix because I've been put down for so long. I'm ready to explode. I'm ready to be my own business owner. And I don't think the color street will be something that I do long term. I do appreciate that it keeps me busy and it's fun to do now. I love doing my nails because chemo, that's a self-care thing for me. I'm big on self-care, but I just really, I really want to own my own business and I don't know what that's going to be. But I think it'll come to me, and hopefully, if not, I'll probably go back into the restaurant industry because that's what I'm good at.
Oh my gosh, Oliver needs to go.
I worked quite long hours and night shifts and stuff, so I don't know if that would really go well with my son nowadays. My life kind of changed after that. I did do a little bit of, I was a line cook. I did a lot of manager's positions, and I did a lot of waitressing. But I think I was just trying to find something I was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And I always did, but I was always like wanting to do something new. Like,
Right.
I think that's why school kept me so entertained, was because I was always learning something new, like sugar work or breads or
I'm sorry. What did you say you went to school for again?
food service management, but I
Okay.
went for culinary,
Okay.
pastry, and then I got the psychology because I figured with management that would be
Mhm.
good. I should have, honestly, I really regret not getting my entrepreneurial degree. I think that would have been a beneficial step for me
I mean, you could always go back, right?
if my loans would allow me. Yeah.
Right.
Somebody told me that LLC or LCC is offering free courses, so I was
Oh,
going to
wow.
look into that and see.
For entrepreneurs?
I don't know. I need to see what they offer, but
Okay.
somebody just mentioned it to me and said single disabled mothers could definitely
Wow.
qualify. So,
Wow.
and
That'd
that's like I mean, it's like a blessing and a curse to be disabled, homeless, and single, but it really gives me a lot of help, the help that I need.
being disabled and homeless gives you the help you need, or the systems
Well,
in
the
play.
systems in play for that.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people that are homeless that don't get my situation. They don't get into my situation. It was very smooth for me, and I wish it was that smooth for everybody else.
Do you think it was smooth because you have a kid?
Yes, I know that's why.
Because I mean, there's a lot of homeless people out there
Mhm.
that are just living on the streets. Now, do you think that's a lot of that's a choice or mental illness? What do you think that is?
No. This is the second time I've been homeless. I stayed with a pair of people that I worked with in high school. My mom kicked me out at 17, and I had to finish high school without my mom. So I don't actually talk to her anymore, but we definitely are. I have a very traumatic experience with that situation, and I just, yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that you were homeless at what was the first point you were homeless with your child? Where did you have to sleep on the streets? How did that
No,
unfold?
I got in a fight with my ex. I left, and I luckily had a friend from my group therapy that took me in. She had an extra spare room, and she had cameras and an ex-military husband. So it was a very safe place for me to be. And then some drama arose with my ex, and I ended up going to the safe haven. So I don't think it's necessarily, I don't think it's the person's fault. I think certain situations, we're supposed to help each other, and we're supposed to stick together like a village. And that's what I've really found here in Lansing there's many villages, and they all work together to kind of build up these people.
That's what I'm kind of discovering by doing this podcast is there's because I've been interviewing local business owners or people who run nonprofits here locally, and it's like this own insular community of people, and they all seem to know each other.
Yeah,
Except for
yeah.
me, I don't know any of these people until
Well,
I
you're
meet them.
getting you're getting there. Especially you mentioned Jerry Norris
Yeah.
from the Fledge. I was going to Sparrow Cancer Center at the time, and I was going through a really rough time. Couldn't afford food, and I just seen a free food stand just sitting there, and I was like, "What is this?" I seen a bunch of plants. I was getting into plants really much, like house plants and stuff, and I said, "I gotta go check this out." And I kind of was like staring, like, what is this place? And he came out and he was wearing his mask. I was wearing mine. I was bald. And he introduced himself and he went inside and brought me a whole bunch of extra food. And then the next week, his wife Shannon, she delivered 3 bags worth of food to me.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I said, the community that I've built here with the Fledge and Willow Tree Family Center and EPO, which is Expectant Parents Organization, and then Next Gen, which is the breastfeeding community that I was in. There's just a lot of people meeting and trying to better the world.
Now, you were talking about, I think before the podcast, about how you couldn't breastfeed your child, right? Because of the fear of passing on the cancer to him through breastfeeding.
I breastfed him exclusively for 5 months. I had a terrible time with the latch. I got it a couple times in the hospital, but it seemed like the nurses were really getting frustrated with me, so I kind of just gave up and pumped. And they were really amazed at the numbers that I was producing. I was overproducing. So I went and seen a couple people, and I found some lumps in my chest, probably about 20 in 5 months.
Wow.
So I honestly thought it was severe mastitis, which is an infection, like large abscesses. But
from breastfeeding.
Yeah, I took antibiotics for a week, and I remember stretching and doing yoga and opening up my chest, and I kept coughing, like a really forceful, dry cough. And I thought, man, this is really weird. So I went and I seen my doctor again. I told her, I said, I have a cough now. These antibiotics aren't working, and these aren't shrinking. And I can't get anything to move. So we did a bunch of blood tests. They sent me for ultrasounds, x-rays. And luckily I had just had an x-ray in August when I was 8 months pregnant. And I had heat exhaustion, so I passed out. And they seen nothing. Nothing came up. And it was completely clear. And then within 5 months, I had probably they said a 3x3 mass on my windpipe. And they admitted me into the hospital because they were afraid that I couldn't breathe on my own. I was fine. I just kept coughing. So then we spent 3 weeks there, but actually when I got my port, which is my medical port I have right here on my chest, it kind of helps my medicine go in. But I got that, and the medicines that they then did for my lumbar puncture and everything at that time, it definitely was not breastfeeding friendly, so they told me to stop. But I had to kind of read my phone a little bit, and I was looking, and somebody had messaged me, and she was a doctor, and she told me that the cancer that I had, she didn't know if I knew much about it, but it's from China, and that it could be an STD. She asked me if I spent any time in China, and I said no. And then she said, well, is there any way that you could have this virus? And I said, I don't know, I'll ask them. She said, well, you need to stop breastfeeding because you could pass it on to him. And I kept going because I asked my doctors, and they said it was no issue. And I actually had a freezer stash. I had 40 ounces in a freezer stash. So we used that to kind of help move him from formula. So we split it kind of half and half. And that was tough. He refused it for a while, but we eventually got him on track, and now he's in sippy cups. And
awesome, and he's doing fine. He's
yeah,
nice and healthy.
Yeah. I mean, I think the 5 months that I put that work in really was the beneficial thing for him. Like, that was at the most beneficial time. So, and actually they say you can start purees with kids at 6 months, and he was 5 months. Sorry, I'm kind of congested.
You're good.
But he did the champ. He was a champ, and he was my best doctor.
Awesome. Now, how did you come to know Erica?
Erica.
'Cause she's running that that nonprofit.
Yeah.
She's trying to launch as well. I can't remember the name of it now.
Jubilee.
Jubilee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I should have known that. Why did I not know
I
that?
was hoping they could help me already, but they're getting there, and hopefully maybe one day I'll help her. But I actually, the first time I met her, she was asking for performers for the Fledge. And when she asked for performers, I hula hoop. I've hula hooped for 8 years, and I've done yoga for about 12. So I picked up hula hooping after, a little rave phase. That was fun. But it really turned out to be like a good mental meditation thing for me, and I just kind of do dance with it. So I signed up for a performance, and she was organizing it, and I happened to talk to her, and then a few weeks later I actually met her at the Punks for Lunch.
Okay.
And I did a hula hooping for them. That they really like it out there, and the kids were playing with them and stuff. I bring extras.
That's cool.
And it was a whole lot of fun. And I met her, and she kind of shared her story about her struggles, and they're really similar. Different, but very similar, and we just kind of bonded over that. So I don't really know her too well, but I'm trying to.
Yeah, she was a real friend. I had her on the podcast.
Yeah.
And she was real friendly, and I enjoyed talking with her. She actually invited us to do the When September Ends festival.
Oh.
And so, yeah, my wife's going to have a bunch of artwork on
Awesome.
display and stuff.
Sweet.
Yeah, actually, you're selling it, right? You're selling artwork.
Cool.
Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to talk about while you're on here? You have a list, a little notepad
Let
over
me
there?
look and see if I. No, I really I could talk to you about my culinary background.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
I did some management positions. I actually worked for what's called a Captain D's seafood restaurant.
Okay.
And I was the, not the general manager, but the other manager, so just the plain manager. But that was a lot of fun. I feel like I'm good with the public. I really like to be personable. So I think that'll be exciting to go into that vending show because it's what I do. I actually did I was poached by a Circle K employee, and he had a full kitchen in this gas station, and he wanted me to run it. So what I did, I went in there and I turned the place around. I got rid of a lot of old product and brought in some new stuff and tested out some new products and stuff. But it turned out to only be me wanting to work there. So it was really tough in the end, and I ended up leaving.
You didn't want to work there?
No, it was a lot of work for one person to handle, and they wanted me there every day.
Right.
And I just couldn't do that mentally.
Right.
I eventually broke down. I mean, I did it for as long as I could, and then I just said, I'm sorry. I can't do it anymore.
So do you ever, because you obviously went to school for culinary, do you think that you'll start a restaurant one day?
No.
You have no aspirations to want to?
Not especially in this time.
No.
I've just seen too many horror stories again, and I just...
Well, opening up and then having to shut back down?
That, or just not being able to manage finances very well. You have a large overhead. That's what I like about Color Street. I have a small overhead. I don't have a lot of product.
Right.
And I can get rid of it pretty easily.
Right.
I looked at a lot of other MLMs to kind of keep me busy, but this one was the one that really caught me because it was so, they told me it would fit into the cracks of motherhood, and that kind of sold me. It's been very flexible. I've worked a lot of management positions, like I did Murphy's at the Walmart gas station. And there was a lot of times where I had to put myself in some danger. And, I just didn't really feel like that is the direction that I should be going with a college degree. But
I would think that with a college degree, you could do a lot of different things.
yeah, and I actually get jobs very easily.
If you can you grab him and hand him to me?
I'll hold him.
Okay.
I think that's what he wants.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
He actually looks just like my cat Maui. But yeah, I think I want to either be a manager. I really like being a manager because it gives me that freedom of like, kind of working for myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I like the Color Street too. And if I apply myself more to that when I get like a place, and I can get an office and I can get kind of settled in, I think I could do more with it. Right now I'm keeping it really small and just kind of stress free.
Okay.
I just don't need the extra stress. If you go back to the beginning of my diagnosis, I had several doctors that I decided I did not want to work with them anymore. They didn't make a great team with me. But now I think I've finally found that that person that wants to work with me. It was funny when I sat in his office for the first time. I cried a little bit because he just explained things to me in a different way that was a little easier for me to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And he then told me about things that I didn't know, like I hadn't been tested for RSV, residual something virus or something. But I actually just had a bone marrow biopsy. I'll have another one at the end of my treatment, and they tested me for RSV, and they tested me my genetics, and they said everything was being rearranged by the chemo. That the chemo
Wow.
was doing what it's supposed to do, and yeah, I hopefully we can stay on that same page. I've had a lot of issues with scheduling because I used to go to chemo 5 days a week. Now it's not so much. So it's getting a little harder to schedule because I have to schedule out further time. But I
Right.
really have to be on them about, hey, you scheduled me for an extra chemo. Or, hey, I think I'm supposed to have chemo this day. Or...
They don't know.
No, and
They're not
actually,
keeping track of that?
if you see my calendar that they give me, it's about this long,
Jeez.
and I get a new one every 85 days.
Wow.
So I just use that as a calendar now. It's like
Right.
it's actually like 4 pages taped together with little hand marks on it, and we have to like sometimes move my chemo and like
Oh.
it's a challenge.
So when you're when you're going through chemo, obviously you kind of have to plan around it. Like you had when we were trying to schedule this, you had said we can't do it last week because you had chemo.
Mm-hmm.
What is a week of chemo like?
I go in on a Monday, and I get my labs drawn. And I like to get them drawn out of my port instead of my arm so that I can stay accessed, is what it's called, and only get one poke. So I will go home. I have a patch on and a real long cord, and I have to wear that for 5 days. So I'll go in the first day. The first day is always the longest because I got to wait for labs, and then I got to get pre-medded, and then IV fluids, and then they gave me last week what's called nalirabine. It's actually made from like a plant extract.
Okay.
And so I get that for 5 days, but while I'm on that for those 5 days, I take what's called prednisone. You probably know it. It's a steroid.
I've heard it, yeah.
Yeah, it increases the effectability of my medicine,
Okay.
but it also helps me gain weight, and it gives me an attitude.
Which is probably a good thing, right? That you're gaining weight because you said during chemo you also lose weight.
Yeah, I'm really proud, so I share this, but I started out my pregnancy at 95 pounds, so I was really tiny.
Wow.
And they actually said on my CT scan I have what's called brown fat. It's a higher metabolizing fat. It's like, thank God.
That's what I need to have.
Oh man, I tell you what, I got the rarest cancer and that. But I actually am now up to 102, and I've been increasing by weight. That was last week, so I've been increasing by weight a pound each week. So I think being in maintenance stage is really giving me a better quality of life. I have more of an appetite now. I can go out and do things. It's really, once you get over that hurdle of induction and everything, it's just so much better. Because they were giving me, in the beginning, they were giving me a medicine called Donarubicin, a.k.a. the Red Devil.
Sounds pleasurable.
If you have too much of it, it can weaken your heart.
Wow.
So I have to be careful about taking certain medications on my heart, which has already been weakened. And then they had me on, obviously, the Nelarabine. I get vincristine on the 30th. I go in there for one day, so they won't even put the patch on me. I just go in there, sit for a couple hours and leave. So chemo does take about 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 6.
Wow.
One time, 12.
What do you do while you're doing that? You just playing on your phone? Like,
I do a lot of my MLM.
Okay.
And I do a lot of video chatting. I do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Just anything to keep me busy.
There was a lady I had on the podcast who, she was young too, and she had breast cancer, and she...
San Filippo?
Yeah. Do you know her?
I have. I've met her through Messy Monday.
Okay.
It's at the Mother and Earth Baby Boutique.
Okay.
She has like a little toddler class, and I took my son.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So she was talking about how she's taken more of a holistic perspective. Have you tried anything that maybe she has tried?
I have.
You obviously do yoga, you said.
I am a strict yoga person. Yogi, I guess you call. But I have tried. I've listened to your interview, and she talked about the acupuncture seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that I threw up for 3 days, and I took them out.
Wow.
So they do work, but I just wasn't ready for that kind of detox.
Okay.
I probably should have done it a different time. Probably not during chemo, probably
Right.
after, when I had expelled a lot more. And then I did do a massage. I'm getting ready to have another massage, so I'm really curious about how this is going to go. But I actually was driving home and started throwing up in my hand on the highway.
From the massage?
Yeah.
What kind of massage is it?
It was just a free hour massage. And
3-hour massage?
A free.
Oh, free.
3 hour. Sorry.
I was going to say 3 hours. I need to go to this place.
Right. And I think they actually do what's called oncology massages. They're supposed to increase your circulation and things like that.
Okay. Get the blood flowing.
Yeah. And it definitely detoxes you.
So why do you think you threw up?
I actually have had a lot of nausea. Chemo, I'm on 3 different types of anti-nausea med. I usually just take one. I'm on Zofran, Compazine, and another one. I don't ever take it, so I don't remember what it's called. But the Compazine doesn't cause me to have headaches, and I really like it. It doesn't upset my stomach. The Zofran, I get the Zofran actually pre-medded during my chemos, and it's okay. But I used to have to double up. I guess, honestly, I should have just detoxed it out. But it was just rough. It was rough having a 2-year-old, holding him back, throwing in the trash can.
Yeah.
And then...
he obviously doesn't know what's going on.
A lot of people don't know that the 3 Ps are toxic. So pee, poop, and puke. So a chemo patient has to flush twice. And you have to clean your toilet, like, pretty frequently because you're expelling those chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of little things you didn't really know, and then
Right.
you waste a lot of water.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And it really stinks when you have a toilet that doesn't flush twice. Because then I feel bad, but then I'm like, I can't do anything about it. But
Dump a bunch of chemicals in there or something.
yeah, a scary thing. It might be TMI, but when I was breastfeeding, I actually had to pump my breast milk and dump it for a while because I continued to lactate for a while, and I was in so much pain. My nurse at the time, she was crying with me.
Oh.
Yeah, and she was like, "I'm so sorry, honey. Like, I've been through this, not this, but I've been through breastfeeding, and I know it can be painful." So she actually got me this big ice thing. It's supposed to go on your leg, and it's hooked up to a big machine that's filled with ice water.
Okay.
And they changed it out about every hour, but I just had that on my chest sitting down, and it was amazing. And I actually, a lot of people, when I thought I had mastitis, my mom friends were like, "Oh, try heat," but heat was not working for me. So the cold, I was like, if you need me, I'll be icing my boobs. But it was a fun time because I made it that way. It was a positive experience because of my nurses. My family came to visit me, my friends. I was overwhelmed with how much love I had.
Now, you said you listened to that interview with Jessica. She talked about how her breast cancer was due to a bad relationship. And particularly, I think it's the left breast. It like signifies if you have cancer in that breast that it's a bad relationship. So it's like kind of like the negative energy you have in your life.
Gotcha.
What do you think about that?
I think
Because when she told me that, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I don't know how true that is.
I think that we as humans are very dumb on what we know, but I think that there's a lot of things that we don't understand and that are really significant. So like your mind, body, and soul being connected, yeah. Chakras, yeah. I think people are weary because it's Old Testament kind of, like
I don't know if it.
they see it as almost like a religious practice for yoga, almost like people
it's woo-woo.
use it as enlightenment.
Right.
So I think I'm a believer in all that, but I also think we kind of create our little issues. So
Well, I mean,
I think honestly, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I think my cancer came from the chemicals that I was using in kitchens. For it to have effect on my central nervous system, I was breathing in a lot of grill chemicals. So I'm more of a believer that I think the environment is kind of the issue.
Right.
I really think that that is it Eastern medicine? Is that what it's called? Western medicine?
Yeah.
I'm not very educated on it, but I do believe that it does help. Like I said, the acupuncture and the seeds and all that stuff, it really opened my eyes to like how much I needed to just kind of get in tune with my body.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what yoga has always helped me do. So I can't sit here and say that stuff prevents it, because what's going to happen to you is going to happen to you no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
But I think traumas create stress in the body, and I think that is also a trigger for illnesses.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So I do believe that that's my take on it. But I really I'm still on my journey. I don't like it being called a journey. If I it's not. It's my struggle. It's a struggle.
It's your path.
Yeah, that's a better term, because journeys are supposed to be fun and you're supposed to like enjoy the ride.
I think so. I think some journeys can be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or not so fun.
Yeah, I think there's a positive spin on journey, the word journey.
But
in it.
I think if you talk about like your journey, like if you look back at your journey, like, oh, that's where I was as opposed to where I am now. Like
Yeah.
that was an interesting journey.
Yeah.
That was a fun, like, not fun, but like that journey made me who I am today.
Exactly. I definitely think that I have a journey, but cancer is not my journey. That's a small part of who I am. And it'll be gone before I know it, and it's not going to come back. And I believe in manifestation. So I really believe that if I continue with this positive mindset, that there's nothing that I can do to prevent things from happening, but I can better the quality of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I keep that path, I'll be on a journey. But sometimes I fall off that journey.
Yeah.
And it stings, but
that's life.
yeah.
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 You pick yourself back up and you just get back on the trail.
Exactly.
Keep going.
So I'm definitely riding a roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster. Life is definitely a roller coaster.
I guess I shouldn't say that I don't like the word journey. It really bothers me when, it doesn't bother me, but it just...
It's one of those blanket terms that people use, like, oh, that was my journey. Like, this is my fitness journey.
It's
kind
of
of
like
spiritual journey.
I lost my brother.
It's my woke journey. Sorry.
No, you're good. I lost my brother when he was 16, so I kind of like... I heard a lot of "I'm sorry," and although I like really appreciate that sentiment, it's just like it's really just kind of half-hearted, and I've been really like fortunate to experience that and be able to give people a better response than just "oh, I'm sorry."
Right.
Like that's what I got a lot when I was diagnosed. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, why are you sorry? You're not sorry. You're sympathetic.
Right.
You're empathetic. Don't be sorry. I really hate that because they say that sorry is a cover up for abused people. Like people use it to kind of, if they're abused, they'll use it a lot. So, I've tried to stop myself from saying sorry so much because most of the time I don't have anything to be sorry for.
Like if you're, it could be just anything, right? Like if you're just kind of putting somebody out of their way.
Yeah, like I get a lot of people who just kind of, like in the grocery store, will walk past me, and I used to say, "Oh, I'm sorry," but I wasn't really bumping into them; they bumped into me. So
I do that.
Yeah, why am I saying sorry? I need to stop that. Like.
Turn around and be like, watch where you're walking.
Right? I do that sometimes, and people actually get a kick out of it. So it's just funny. I like making people laugh sometimes. So it's really good to just kind of be like, when I worked at the gas station, I'd be like, oh no, here comes trouble. Or like just people really respond to that, and it's
more playful.
Yeah. I try to be like just uplifting most of the time because I like to cover up humor with pain.
That's one thing I've noticed a lot of people do. I've interviewed a few different people. Like one of my friends, Chance, he like makes light of. I have an interview with him, but he makes light of the stuff that he's gone through, and he kind of just jokes about it. But it's like everything he's joking about actually happened. Yeah. I'm like that. This seems to be a way that people cope with the things that they've been through. Like
when I was actually losing my hair. Losing my hair was not as big of a struggle as most people thought it was. It was actually really liberating, and I looked really hot with my bald head. I mean, I pulled that bald head off really good. And so when I went down to a bob haircut, so I had a little bit of length, and then it started getting real thin, so I did a mohawk. And then when it got real short, I did it bald, and I posted a picture of me and my son Finn, and I said, "Look, we're twins." So it really, a lot of my friends actually cut their hair short and kind of
cool.
like celerity.
Wow.
Regretted it very quickly, but yeah, I was just really surprised that I had that kind of movement. A lot of people will tell me on Instagram, because I share so much on my story. They'll just tell me, "Oh, you're an inspiration. I'm glad that I see you keep kicking," because they're also cancer patients. So it's like I can reach out to those people and share a little bit of positivity between me and my son, or something like, "Oh, today we're playing with Jello," or "This
Right.
is Finn's first ice cream." A lot of people like that, but then I also show that I'm going to chemo, and I share like some of my medical struggles, because we're not a third world country, but it sure
Now,
seems like it sometimes.
before we wrap this up, I wanted to ask your opinion on the medical system, because that was one thing Jessica had talked about, was that she felt that the doctors didn't necessarily have her best interest in mind, and that they were just doing treatment based on, like, she's just another number, like, this is what we do. And the treatment wasn't necessarily specialized for her. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree. I don't know if I should be still going through chemo. I kind of debate, like, why am I going so long? Why am I going so long? If I'm in remission, why do I need to stop? I ask a lot of questions. I'm almost annoying. I was actually I was in my lumbar puncture at Sparrow, and I decided that I was going to be switching to Breslin Cancer Center after speaking with Dr. Cole. He is an amazing man. He didn't really convince me to switch, but he just was really intelligent and could answer my questions, and even gave me some information that I didn't know. While at my last LP in Sparrow, I was sitting in the fetal position when they were trying to find the spot to poke my nerves and get into my spinal fluid, and they did that blindly.
What?
For a while. They did that blindly, and then they did my bone marrow biopsies without sedating me.
Are they supposed to?
They don't have to, but if somebody suggests it, they're advocating for themselves, so they can be put under. And they do it with children. So if I'm going through 6, I actually tried to go through one without, and I ended up puking, almost passing out. I went through 2 of the numbing medications, and after the second needle, I just started getting hot. I couldn't handle it. So we had to do sedation. And I came out happier than a bee.
Wow.
But they were doing my LPs blindly, like I said, and I had told my doctor, I said, "Listen," I said, "the reason I'm switching is because I've been having a lot of back pain, and I don't like my LPs being without this X-ray technology that Breslin is talking about." He said, "Well, you're not going to be happy there." So I started crying. I mean, was I making the right choice? Am I going into another situation where he can talk real good? And then, I mean, I really, I can tell you that I spoke with a nurse after my LP, my first LP at Breslin, and I told him that. I said, he told me that I would not be happy. He said, "Well, we proved him wrong, didn't we? Because I walked out of there with no pain. I didn't even feel it, and a student did it, a resident."
Wow.
So when you don't know anything about something and you trust these people so blindly, it's hard now to trust a lot of people. But I tell everybody this: go get a second opinion. Go, go, go. If you think that you need a second opinion, don't question it. Go get it. Like, you'll be happier than anything. I mean,
My dad had some health problems just recently, and he had to go to Sparrow. And what did they tell him? What did they tell him he had? Was it lung cancer or something?
Yes, he had a growth or something. What?
It was like fluid in the lungs or
I
something.
don't know.
It's like, I don't know. There was a couple different
He
diagnoses.
had a couple problems. I don't want to put his business out on.
No, I got you.
But anyways, he was wrongly diagnosed with lung cancer, and they were going to treat him for that. And then they found out later on that he actually didn't have that, and that it was like fluid in the lungs, and so they had
pneumonia.
pneumonia. They had to drain it. And like, what if they just started treating him for that? It's like,
Yeah.
how do you wrongfully diagnose
actually-
people?
There's a lawsuit against Sparrow where a woman wrongfully lost her legs.
What?
I could go on about this place, especially after I've advocated for myself so much and kind of threw their name out there. A lot of people have not been happy with their medical care there.
Right.
Like I said, I don't want to say that I was misdiagnosed because we did think it was mastitis. I mean, just from the touch, I mean, nobody would have known.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so quick, and I was getting all my blood work done for my pregnancy, and everything was coming back fine.
I think the biggest thing for me, though, is that you hear about all these doctors who are wrongfully diagnosing people because, I mean, cancer is like a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Mm-hmm.
They're making a crap ton of money from the insurance companies, and like Jessica was saying, is that she didn't feel like she had to keep going through chemo in treatment, so she just ended it. But they, against their will, they were just going to keep prolonging it
Keep her on it for chronic.
because they make money off of it.
I know that breast cancer is so different from blood cancer.
Right.
Blood cancers are very well studied, especially with being on a pediatric protocol.
Right.
It's a little different. I got very lucky to be 27 at the time of my diagnosis because if I would have been 30, which I'll be next year, I would have had to go on an adult treatment.
Is it a little bit
and-
more?
Yeah, it's longer.
Okay.
It's for chronic leukemia. And yeah. And I spoke to so many people just like waiting in the waiting rooms. It's been very eye-opening just speaking with other cancer survivors and people who are still fighting it. But I spoke with a woman and she was getting blood work and she was telling me that she's on chemo for the rest of her life. And
How old was she?
she was a little bit older. She was probably 60.
Okay.
But yeah, that's just the difference. I get a lot of people who say my grandmother had cancer, my aunt, my older family member, and it's just not the better outcome. I think with children's medicines, it's a little more funded. And like I said, I have Medicaid. I would be lost. I would be dead without Medicaid.
Right.
Yeah. And if I work, I lose my Medicaid, I lose my disability. And I need those things because I can't work with my extensive chemo
Right.
regimen. And then they don't really want me to send my son to daycare because he can catch viruses, which would be very bad for me.
Right.
So there's a lot of different elements to the thing, but
Yeah, that's tough.
a lot of stuff that
You're
I
in a-
can't really prevent.
Right. You're in a tough spot with your kid because you don't have anybody really to help you, and then you're doing chemo. How often again?
I do chemo every day. I do oral chemo every day, but then I get infusion chemos every 30 days.
Yeah. So, and then that probably puts you out for about a week, right?
Yeah, it's getting better. Like I said, better quality of life. I throw up occasionally. Not
So-
worse than a hangover in college. I mean, I'm really grateful. Really grateful.
Wow, this is deep. Is there anything else you want to talk about on the podcast?
Um,
I think we're an hour and 3 minutes in.
Oh, I don't know.
Oliver, beat
Not really.
it.
I mean, hopefully, hopefully I can come out on top of this thing, and a little bit every day gets a little better, and I think we just got to make lemonade from the lemons that we get.
Absolutely.
That's what my therapist always says. I'm in multiple therapies. You gotta be.
Yeah. I think you're doing good. You seem like you have a positive attitude, and you're wanting. Geez, just jump on up, Oliver. You seem like you're wanting to have a better future, and for yourself and for your kid, your child, your kid. And if somebody wants to reach out to you for the nail thing, how can they do so?
Yeah. I have a website. It's www.colorstreet.com/Chi Nailed It. And then I also have a Facebook page you can add. It's called Chi Nailed It. And it's a private group, so you will have to send an invite, but you can follow that. And I post tips and different manis and, like I said, giveaways. I did a sweepstake, or not a sweepstake, but I did a giveaway for if I got 150 members, and I hit that last month. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So what does a giveaway consist of?
Giveaways, I pick up little prizes, and I give out sets most of the time.
Okay.
I'll let them choose from my private stash. So my private stash is like $10 a set, or you can go online and you can do the buy three get one.
Okay.
And that's a pretty popular deal. So I'm in the process of making a QR code so that people at the event can just scan it. I also have business cards, but who uses business cards anymore? But I'm thinking about making a LinkTree.
Okay.
And I'm learning
Yeah.
little things that I didn't necessarily know in the beginning, but
What kind of things are you doing for promotion?
promotion, I haven't been, to be
Okay.
honest with you. The giveaways really help.
Yeah.
But what we do with Color Street is we have virtual bingo parties and like family feuds and just like online games.
Okay.
They've really lost their oomph since COVID kind of dissipated, but I really need to get back into parties. I just haven't been doing them, but I'm hoping that I can do in-person parties eventually. I think that would be more fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, they did the Mary Kay thing.
Right.
And, just kind of showing people how to do it and bringing different nail arts and things. And
Right.
But for the giveaway, I usually pick up like face masks, socks, lotions, just anything really that I find cool and I want to share with somebody. But I try to keep my costs down.
Yeah.
At the East Side Fest, I'm going to have a raffle basket, and I've got it filled with some goodies and stuff. And we're actually going to have a raffle, so if they buy a set, they get a ticket.
Oh, cool.
Put $1 and you get a ticket. But me and my friend Melissa Ball, she's a paralegal here in
Oh, wow.
Mason.
Okay.
She's been my best friend since I moved here, and she helped raise 2 GoFundMes for me. So we made about $2,500 on each GoFundMe.
Wow.
And we also just did a silent auction. So that was really fun. We collected a lot of local business items. We got the Constellation Cat Cafe,
Oh, cool.
Neville Plant Shop, the Social Sloth, Hair United, just a bunch of local businesses. And we had people fighting over the baskets and just trying to like win
Wow.
them. And we actually had a mini picture of a waffle painted,
Oh,
and
okay.
it was gold plated. It went for $60.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So it was a fun time, and organizing it was a lot of work.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's over. But now I'm in the process of still delivering things and getting them to the people, and
Cool.
it was a lot of fun making those baskets. So I kind of used that for the Color Street helped me with that.
Right.
I wouldn't have had as much knowledge on gaining connections and stuff without it. And I did. I gained a lot of connections. Actually, I met another color street artist
Oh, wow.
or stylist who donated to my
Oh, wow.
event. So.
Here in town?
Yeah. Well, she's in Williamston.
Oh, okay.
So they're all over. It's huge. It's bigger than I thought. I should have really thought about it. But it's really hard to get into vendor shows, so that's why I'm really excited about doing this vendor show, because they asked me to do it. You know, I thought somebody had already signed up. Kind of.
Right.
I do that. I doubt myself.
Don't
and
do
then, that. No. Every time I doubt myself, something good happens. I don't know. But when I'm too big-headed, I never get it. Just like the other day, I was like, man, I'm not going to buy a lottery ticket. I'm not going to buy a lottery ticket. I have $20. Let me buy a lottery ticket. And I asked the guy, I was like, what is hit today? what number is this on? You know, trying to figure out my odds. And then I hit $100 on a $20 ticket.
Oh, nice.
So I doubted myself, but I sat there and I worked it and I got it.
That's more fortunate than I've ever been on a lottery ticket.
Oh, man.
I waste money when I buy a lottery ticket.
I'm just hoping it's up from here.
I hope it is too. Well, it's been a great honor talking to you. I would hope to have you back on sometime.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll be doing other things and
Yeah,
having a little break.
absolutely.
A vacay is what I'm searching for right now.
Well, good luck at the festival, and
Yeah, thank you.
I hope for the best.
Yeah,